Okay, so welcome to my Brightspace training session. This is an introduction to Brightspace. It will be kind of a gallery walk of the interface. It'll be a little bit of the functionality. Uh, your peers, a lot of the faculty have kind of gotten together to try and develop training. If you are the type of person where, like, Ryan, you're going way too slow, or Ryan, you're going way too fast, I've developed a resource that'll actually help you. I've really gotten into, I should say, I've been forced to get into building a lot of websites. So I've been doing a lot of Google sites. And I've built inside of the chat box, I've placed a link to a Brightspace website I've been creating. I've taken all the resources that Susan Harkness has been sending out. I've been creating a resource for faculty to kind of go to, so this way that they can actually start to learn Brightspace. They don't have to try and hunt down the PDF file that they saw 2 weeks ago when this came out, or this, that, and the other. So I've been developing these websites. The link is in the chat box. At this time, I'm going to ask you too, if you could just go to the chat box and just type in and say hello, or just write your name. I have to kind of keep track of who I'm training. It's not like I'm sending anybody to the principal's office. It's just, again, we're trying to keep a number of how many people we have come into these trainings, so this way we can just know, they love their numbers and statistics upstairs in the leadership office. I don't see the link. It's at the very top. If you came in a little bit late, it may not have shown up. I'm happy to copy and paste it again. It is right there, and I'll show you the actual page in just a minute when I hit share. Susan asks. Yes, she does. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started with Brightspace. Some of the good news, some of the positive features is that there's no longer going to be a big time variance when, let's say, for instance, you have a student that signs up for a course, they're coming in quickly, it's like, oh, but we have to wait for this to happen. We have to wait for that to happen. When it comes to WebAdvisor connecting to Brightspace, it's almost going to be a very seamless thing. So it's not going to be like, there's a delay in when students are going to go from WebAdvisor into Brightspace. That's not going to be the case. It'll almost be instantaneous. It'll be pretty fast when it comes to the updates. The winter courses are going to start to be populated very soon. So you'll start to see some courses appearing in Brightspace soon, especially for the winter courses that are coming up. Before you know, it's already mid-November. Scary. And Susan and a lot of the leadership team they're also trying to push to get Brightspace support desks. That is 24/7 help. Not saying that they're going to get it. They're trying to put money in the budget. Susan's fighting for it, and we appreciate that. But that would be 24/7 support when it comes to anything Brightspace. They're working on it. So, if you're joining in, please make sure to hit the mute button for your audio, just so we don't have any background chatter. I promise you can get a chance to participate in a little bit. Okay, so the very first thing I'd like to show, I'm going to go ahead and hit my share screen. Let's just do number 2. Here we go. Is the Brightspace resource I've been developing for the School of Education, but I've really been I'm giving it out to everybody because I don't care. Anything Brightspace related when it comes to training for the faculty, I've been trying to create just a place that anybody can go and get the resources that Susan and the team have been collecting from Desire to Learn during this transition over to the new learning management system. There is ways to access it, obviously the link. Let's see, eventually it's going to be connected to the popular resources on the main Notre Dame webpage. And they're also, and eventually you're going to be able to just do a Google search and find Brightspace Notre Dame, and it'll be probably the first resource that comes up. There's a quick start guide for instructors, which I'll kind of go through today. And there's also a much more thorough manual for instructors that'll kind of get you going. And The nice thing about these resources is it's includes a lot of screenshots, a lot of very specific directions, very clear manuals. So it will help you as you train yourself. If that's not your cup of tea and you really like, oh, I like watching video, I like seeing people do it, there's also the Quick Start training. So there's the webinar series. The Quick Start trainings, you can go to the Brightspace community, which there's also directions on how to sign up for this. There are wonderful video. The videos are very professionally recorded. They're done nicely. There's step-by-step instructions on how to sign up and actually start the webinar. So if you're nervous and you really want to get going on it, you can. And finally, there's also the Brightspace YouTube channel, which includes all of their video-based tutorials. The nice thing is they also have curated them by playlist. So if you're an administrator, you can go to the administrator playlist. If you're an instructor, you can go to the instructor playlist. And again, if you're an instructional designer, you can go to their playlist. So it's kind of curated nicely to where you can go through all the different videos and watch them. And it's not like it's a 25-minute webinar. They're usually broken up into like 4 or 5 minute chunks for just-in-time training. So it'll be very helpful. Okay. So without further ado, I am going to use my own resource to go to Brightspace. You'll also notice as you join Brightspace that you're not going to have to do 5 million logins, and that's they're starting to do the single sign-on to where if you sign in once, it'll recognize your credentials. So this way, it's not constantly having to stop and sign in, or oh, heck, you know, what's my password? You don't have to keep on doing that over and over and over again. So again, for a smooth example. Once you arrive on the interface, anytime you want to get back to this kind of like large organization page, you can always just click on the Notre Dame symbol in the very top left. It'll take you back to this main page. Let's see, if you ever want to see all of the courses that you are linked to or connected to, you can come right here. I think some people have called these Hershey bars or whatever. I'm sorry if I'm making you hungry. You click on the 3x3 matrix right here, and it expands and gives you all your different courses. And I know if you look at that, you're like, oh my goodness, it looks like a bunch of just, you know, how can you make out what is going on in here? You can always actually just hit the pin, and this will actually force it to be at the very top, gives it priority in your kind of like your visual interface. So I'm going to go ahead and pin this sandbox, which means it's always going to show up first. Okay, so it's pinned. You can also see down here on the other courses, I like this visual better, which is kind of like the different visual courses that you're attached to or spaces. You can see I have 2 different sandboxes right now. Has everybody been able to get into Brightspace?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anybody? Yes. I'm in the, let me go to my chat box just to make sure everybody's good. Everybody's been able to log in successfully. They see kind of like a similar interface to what I have.
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. Yes, good. Okay, that makes me happy. So it's very seamless. So I'm starting to see a lot of ease of access to Brightspace, which is our goal. Okay. You'll see a bunch of icons at the very top. So you can get different messages not only from students but from activity inside of the Brightspace. You can also subscribe to things. So let's say, for instance, and your students can also do this as well. If there's something that they're doing, for instance, for a discussion, and you will hit the subscribe button, anytime somebody does something, you'll get a notification in here. There's also this update alert too, so where if something's going on in the system, you'll also be able to see it. Top right-hand side, you'll see your name, probably with kind of like some sort of empty little icon. If you click on this, here is an important section for you to be able to customize your Brightspace experience. If you go to profile, it allows you to upload a picture of yourself. I do suggest this. Avatars are becoming extremely important for online and distance learning. It doesn't have to be something as stiff as mine or as bald as mine, but you can absolutely put something up there that's, that's going to represent you online. So this way it's a little more of a personal touch. Some professors put up silly pictures themselves or put up just silly pictures in general. You can also change it at any time. You can also add like a little tagline for information. You can even add hobbies. There is going to be a place where inside of Brightspace where you can actually just put your own about the author page. So this way it kind of gets, access for them to get to know you. I'm gonna come back up here to, account settings. Now, if you have terrible eyesight like I do, you can control the what the font size looks like. So if you want to go to large, it's going to show you this is what it's going to look like in the system. Or if you want to go to huge, I'm just going to go back to medium. This is what it will look like inside the system. HTML editor, reading content, I suggest you pretty much keep this the same. If you do have students with, might have visual disabilities, optimized video presentations for programmatically driven assistive technologies, you may want to click on this so this way it optimizes the visual presentation experience for them. Default is English. Obviously, you can control the clock and even just how it shows up in the interface with you. You can even do percentage formats if you want to. Time zones. You'll notice that it's Canada, Toronto time. They are a Canadian company. And that's just pretty much some of the basic features. Discussions, you can pick different information about the personal settings. Always show the discussion list pane, so this way you can always see what it is. Include original post in reply. That's helpful if you need to read what you're replying to. Sometimes like discussion posts will disappear. If you click on that, it'll be an automatic setting that is customized to your account. So you don't have to keep on trying to go back and look at what the reply says or what the discussion says. There's also email settings. Send a copy. Now, please be careful with this because you could start like really inundating your mailbox with all these automated emails. Send a copy of each outgoing message to your email address. Save a copy of each outgoing message to the sent mailbox. So this way you don't have to jump out of Outlook and go into, you don't have to jump out of the Brightspace and go to Outlook. You can just send it right from here. Nice thing is if you set up this email option, it's going to make a clone, or I should say it's going to make a message that mirrors what's going on in Brightspace inside of your own email account. Might be helpful, especially if you need to keep track of students and their progress in the course. Or if they're no showing, maybe you'll have to, talk to them. Okay, so I'm going to go back. Let's see, it's captions. Okay, so I am going to hit back and go back to my main page. That's pretty much all of these icons up at the top. Okay. Now this is an organization-based page. That means that it's really the organization, I believe, is seeing it. If I believe everybody pretty much starts at this point. When it comes to just the calendar, there's a built-in calendar, as in if you start to program like assignments inside of your course, it will populate the calendars to where you can actually see it show up in the calendar feature. So this way it's not just something that's isolated in your course and you forget, oh, I have something to grade. If you program your assignments properly with due dates and stuff, it'll populate your calendar. Quick eval, you might think, is course evaluations. Actually not. Quick eval is a place to where you can do quick assessments. You can actually go in and grade from a quick eval section. So if you have an assignment that's due in a course, or if you have assignment due in multiple courses, you can go to quick eval and start grading them from there. So let's say you have like 15 like literature reviews to grade, but you also have 8 like little pop quizzes that you want to grade and you have time to do it. You can grade all those pop quizzes from the course without having to jump back and forth from Brightspace course to Brightspace course. Okay, Brightspace help. Now, here's where I truly love Brightspace, is that they do a very good job of giving you documentation, tutorials, and resources. So this way it will actually help you to, you know, if you need that just-in-time help, you know, we're human beings. We can't be at your beck and call if you have an issue and we feel bad that you might be delayed in a situation. You can always go here because chances are your question has been answered by one of these helpful tutorials or helpful documentation resources here. There's also the NDMU resources. So what we did was we tried to take the resources that were extremely important, that we're constantly kind of leaving our learning management system for, kind of going back and forth like, oh, you know, we have to go to the library. I was like, well, we're gonna have to go out, open a new tab, do something. We try to customize that to where students can actually stay in the learning ecosystem and be more productive. So obviously there's, you know, the early alert systems coming up. That's going to be connected. It's going to be extremely helpful. Email, again, the library, web advisor, the writing center, tutoring, the academic calendar. So actually the, you know, the official academic calendar, which is being used even more heavily during the pandemic time. The catalog, if students need accessibility or they need to connect to the, you know, to the director of accessibility, they can go to that office. They can find out the resources and also the directions for getting accommodations. There's the bookstore, the career center, counseling center, and also just privacy and accessibility. Okay, now I'm just going to go ahead and enter a sandbox. You should have access to a sandbox. So just go ahead at this point. You can click on here, or you can go back up to your Hershey chocolate bar, whatever you want to call it, and you can click into a sandbox. You're going to notice that your your navigation bar at the top has expanded to include a lot more other things. If you, I don't want you to, but if you click on My Home, you should go right back out to that main organization page. If you want to go to Course Home, which is this is kind of like the course dashboard, you can click on Course Home, and it's going to keep you inside of this course. I'm just going to click it real quick and show you. See, I'm still in my sandbox. These sandboxes are just developed for you to play in. You're not going to destroy anything. You're just going to test and tinker around. Don't feel like you're going to break anything in here. These are safe spaces for you to test around. Okay, so coursework. I'm going to go through here first. Content. So you develop content in your course. You either import it or bring it in some way, shape, or form. To do this, you click on Content. Now, as you can see, I actually have started to develop like little mini snippets in here, little modules. They're called modules. If you want to add a module, you'll see that there's a little place over here that says Add a Module. So I'm going to go ahead and click one. I'll just call this Module 3. Training, if I could spell correctly. Hit return, and now it has created a new Module 3 training. From here, I can then go into, I can upload and create. I can go to existing activities. I can do bulk edits, but from here, if you have PowerPoints, you can drag and drop them in. Let me see how it looks once I do it. I'll start getting into the nitty-gritty of things. I'm going to drag and drop one of my resources. Let me find a resource that's kind of on the small side. I don't want to choke the system. Here it is. So again, oh, and it does use drag and drop. So I'm just going to drag and drop it from my stuff, let it go in, and it'll import in. The nice thing about these files is it actually, if you click on them, it does a nice job of making it very accessible to the students. So let me go ahead and click this PowerPoint that I just created and uploaded. You'll see that it actually creates a nice little viewer section of the actual PowerPoint. Now they can still download it. They can still see everything that you've done. Put it to the side a little bit. It is preparing right now because it's something I'm doing kind of on the fly. Typically you want to set this up before your class meeting. Take some time. It was a 10 megabyte file, so I can't blame it. But you can always hit the download button to get the file. Oh, here it goes. And as you can see, here's the resource. You're able to click on View as Text. Mine has a lot of graphics, so it's not extremely friendly when it comes to the reader. Yeah, I probably should have done that. I'm going to let it keep on loading in here, and you'll notice that there's still breadcrumbs at the very top. I'm going to go back to module 3, and I'm going to keep on developing. So here's my first resource. Okay, I can keep on adding to this. Okay, so let's see if I want to create something new. If I want to add, for instance, I go to course, maybe I'm going to build my assignment. So this is my class 7 assignment that I'm going to build. I can go ahead, hit new assignment. And I just give it a name. This is my video assignment, or call this, what is this, module 3 assignment. Score out of, I could give it how many points. I'm just going to call it 10. In grades, yes, choose from grades, remove from grades, reset to ungrade. So I'm going to just choose from grades. Then from here, grade category, I can do different categories, quizzes, assignments. You can also set up your own categories if you want to. That's for a later time when I do my assessment project. But right now I'm just going to call this module 3 out of 10 points. Create and link to a new grade item. You want to click that. You want to keep that on. I'm going to hit OK. If you're developing this assignment to connect to something that already exists, obviously you can click link to an existing grade item. Okay, so that is done. You can give your instructions. You can also give more information too. You could do file upload. You can attach a link to an existing activity. You can attach a web link. So if there's a like a resource that you have online that you want to connect here, you can also record audio or record a video set of instructions. So it's not just them reading the content. You can set up availability dates, for instance, when it starts to be available to the student to actually do, to the end date of when it's actually, these are actually availability dates. So this is when they can actually see it. So if, let's say, for instance, you do November 1st, they'll be able to see it November 1st. And if you hit end date, like November 15th, that means November 5th, November 16th comes around, it will be closed off. It will be shut down. They won't be able to see it anymore. It won't be available to them. You can go through different release conditions. Users are not able to access or view the assignment unless they meet the release conditions. That is, unless they're done with module 3, all the assignments, and it does keep a running performance. If you get to 100% for your module, then you can do the assignment. So there's release conditions of when they can actually do stuff. Submission.
We take a question?
Yes, go ahead.
Start date. Suppose I have 5 modules and I'd like to use the same start date for all. I want everything to be available in the first day of class. Is there a way to do them all at once?
This is just an assignment. So there are visibility ones for just the modules, but for the assignments, you could just mark these all as just the beginning of the course, whatever it is, August, whether it's some fall time, just August 31st or whatever. It'll be available and you can do it at the end. If you don't do a start date, it's going to probably automatically be visible, so you can just leave it alone. Some of these things you're kind of going into, I'm kind of really going into the weeds a little bit, you may not want to. But if you don't mess with it, it should be able to be visible as long as all of the modules visible.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. Okay, submission and completion. So submission types. You can do, this is what's nice is like sometimes with Joule, you didn't know what you were going to do. Are you going to have somebody turn this in a paper? Is somebody going to give you just text in a box? Is somebody going to turn in a file? or is it just something that you're going to observe in class that you're going to put the points in for? You can actually choose that submission type, which will make it easier for the student to where they don't have to guess, well, how am I going to turn this in for this instructor? You can mark it as a file submission, a text submission, an on-paper submission, or an observed in person as you see it. Files allowed per submission. So if you have multiple documents, you can do it unlimited, but if you just require it and restrict it to one file, you can obviously do that as well. All submission, and you can also do multiple submissions too. Only one submission allowed. All submissions are kept. So if if you're doing a writing course, you want a student to be able to see the iteration, like, oh, this is a rough draft, this is a final draft. Obviously, they can submit it to the same point, and maybe their rough draft, you give them a C, but then, of course, after their final, after they revise it and they make it better, maybe they've earned a B. You can obviously give them, multiple submissions into the same course. Notification emails is kind of cool. This is like a new feature. Enter an email or multiple emails separated by a comma to receive notifications when an assignment is submitted. So you can actually, if you want to get notifications by email that somebody's doing this or they've done it, you can actually put an email in there. If you may also want to think about this, and I'm not trying to torture our poor advisors, but if they have something that, if there's some sort of like important capstone that they need to verify that people are submitting properly, they can obviously require them to put a notification in. So don't tell the advisors I said that. Don't yell at me. Okay. You can also connect rubrics to the assignments, which I'm not going to do here. I'll do in an assessment later. Oh my goodness, I'm getting some sort of massive email like blitz right now. Sorry, I'm shutting it off. Busy place this year. Okay. So that's I'm just walking you through assignments just really quickly. I just wanted to show you what assignments look like. So this way you can kind of see that aspect of, how to get content into the course, how to develop new content. So let me go ahead back to content. And again, here's how we get to our modules right here. I'm going to go back to module 3. Okay, now you'll see that there is, let's see, upload, create existing activities, assignment. So now I'm going to link my assignment that I just created, assignments. And I'm going to pick assignment 3. And now it's added to this module. And you just keep on going with adding content to the modules. Okay. Charlie, I think you asked if you want to make something invisible right now. It can be hidden. It can be visible. Okay, made visible successfully, or I can close this manually too, just to show you that you can hide it for now. You could also, if you want to, just hide everything. See, hidden and then visible. Let's see. I'm going to hold off on going on video assignments just for now. Again, that's another session. Course tools. If you go to Course Builder, it allows you to go through and build more content, as in you can go through and just do, instead of building the content like I'm doing it, you can actually go and build the course. It'll be almost like in Course Builder mode. I think I'm going to go to announcements because announcements are pretty cool. And again, it really does add more of a different function other than what you have going on inside of like Joule. The interface is much more robust and it gives you a lot more options. So as you can see, here's the announcement section for my sandbox. I'm going to click on new announcement. Give it its headline. Welcome to this sandbox. Now, inside of here, you can do a bunch of things. You can obviously type the text. You can add video. So if I want to insert, I like this, insert stuff. You can insert an image. So if you want to add an image of yourself or an image that you found just online that you liked, you can. If you want to insert a link to something, you can, a quick link, you can as well. You can record, come down a little bit more. Again, here's availability. So always show start date. You can always start with a date where it becomes available, or you can, again, just if unchecked, the start date will be visible only in the announcement tool to users with permission to edit announcements. So if you always want it to be visible, absolutely check it. Okay, start date, put that down, end date. So this way you don't, what happens is if you keep on doing announcements over and over and over again every day, it'll start to, people will start to like, it'll kind of like just be too much visually. If you want to have announcements like just visual for a certain window, you can obviously have an end date of when it'll disappear from the user. You can add attachments. You can record audio and record video, so it's not just about just entering a text box and sending it out to them. You can record audio and video. It's very friendly when it comes to audio and video interfacing and feedback and giving feedback. And once you're done, you can hit the publish. You can hit the publish link, and it has been published successfully. I didn't have an end date. The start date is just when I published it. You can reorder things if you want to. So for instance, if I have something I'd rather have on top, you can obviously reorder the announcements. Let's see, you can do attendance if you'd like. Set up attendance to where, again, you do, and right now mine has nobody registered, so it's a little bit of a hard feature to really demonstrate right now because there's nobody here. But if you have attendees, obviously you can keep attendance inside of your course as well. And you'll notice that inside the course, you still have a lot of the tools that were on the organization page, the video tutorials, the documentation. So this way, if you need help, you can always resort back to going here. And likewise, if your students need help, they can always go back to here as well. Go back to course home real quick. Okay. Now, as you're doing the module and as you're completing the module, you'll see that there's little percentages of completion that show up. I will say this is Brightspace is really helpful when it comes to analytics. It really does provide you a nice interface that shows you how much you've done already. It's very helpful for the student because that's way they know that they're, I finished everything that was required of me in there. So if they have to watch, or if they have to, read an article, if they have to, watch a presentation, if they have to complete an assignment, they're seeing their progress through each of the modules, which is helpful again. So this way they can keep on track. Where Joule is much more nonlinear. You might be able to go down, but down a list of, like, say for instance, from the top to the bottom, it may not. If the professor didn't give those directions in a sequential order, students could get pretty confused. So let me go to chat and just make sure. Just making sure everything. Can you interface with publishers' content? Jewel asked, can you interface with publishers' content, likes, engage? Yes, you can. It is very third-party, user-friendly. You'd have to talk to IT about it. I do not know all of the different steps and procedures, but I will say this. Diane asked, turn it in, will integrate into, yes, Desire to Learn, it will. Sharon, you asked about a paid subscription to turn it in. Yes. Ryan, can students, this is from Sharon, can students or faculty jump right to the library database as a resource without signing on again? Yes, we've been playing with that, and it should theoretically work. It's hard to, I did work with Joel to kind of test that out because I have both a faculty and a student account. So we wanted to test and see if it worked, and it worked fairly seamlessly. It should also work for the library. They may just have to answer if they're from Notre Dame or from Loyola, but that's nothing different than in the past. Kathy, you said you don't see any of your courses in there. Are you teaching? And again, it's about if you're teaching Winterim, the courses I think may have read that Susan may have said that it's been loaded already, but if it's spring, it probably hasn't been uploaded yet.
Oh, should I have seen my course that I'm teaching now in there?
I don't know.
Brian, we're doing another push. As we've been talking, I've been talking to Joel via private message on the side. He's going to do another winter push, and then we will do a spring push next week. So probably, within 24 hours, I don't know what his schedule is like today. He'll be pushing all of Wintram in again, and then spring will go in next week. And then as things are updated in Colleague, because not all courses are assigned, but as soon as they are assigned in Colleague, they update on the fly, so they update in real time. So once we do the major push of all courses, they'll just update as they're assigned. So they should be rolling along really quickly.
So then for a course that you're teaching in the fall, if you're teaching that again next fall, it probably won't be pushed onto Brightspace until that time frame. You probably wouldn't see it now. Is that right?
You will see summer and fall courses pushed in as soon as we get closer to the registration for those courses.
Okay.
We can't push them in ahead of time, but once we get everything built in the systems and we get ready for registration, then they'll be pushed in. So they'll be put there. Registration is probably, I think it's in March, sometime March, April for summer and fall. At that point is when you'll see summer and fall courses pushed in.
Okay, thank you.
And faculty will have access to 2 years of course data. We're pushing in 30 gigs of courses every night.
So the answer is you should have the content. It's just, again, it's just about like a time and a schedule situation right now because they can't push everything in at once. They're also probably trying to look for any, old stuff in the system that's just going to bloat the, bloat us our data storage and just, retiring it if it's just something that's useless as well. So,
yeah.
But they, I will say Susan and Chris have been very good about just trying to get everything over from our old Joule system into Brightspace, and Access has been fairly helpful right now. I haven't had any problem with what I've asked for. And again, it's just a massive undertaking, but we're still like ahead of the game when it comes to, it's still fairly early in November. I know we have winter courses starting in January, but it's going to be able to give faculty who are already very burdened time at least to be able to work on that. So it's project's going along nicely. Trying to think. There are a lot of other tools that are in the system. I'm just going to go back to coursework. I guess I'll do discussions just because I know that these are some of the tools that people are really going to focus in on. So if you want to develop, obviously you go to new to develop a different, you do a new forum, a new topic. I'm just going to click on new forum. And this is discussion 1. Okay, create a new topic in this forum with the same title. You can obviously do that if you would like. For the description, you can obviously add your thought-provoking question. This, if I can spell correctly, this is my thought-provoking question. You can, and then there's a lot more options, or at least there's a lot more that you can see here about. You can again add video if you want to. You can add stuff. You can add images. You can insert stuff. You can allow anonymous posts. I personally would never do it. Moderator must approve individual posts if you really want to do that as well. You just must start a thread before they can read and reply to others if you'd like to do that. So it gives you a lot of options on how they respond to this, how they see it, and how they respond to it. And you can also display forum descriptions and topics. So I'm going to hit save and close. And now the students would just simply come over here and they can go in here and start answering things, and you can then go and reply. If you want this to be something that's assessed, obviously you can adjust let's see, view topics and grid, edit topic, view, hide. You might see the subscribe. This is what I was looking for before. So if you hit subscribe, that means you're going to get notifications when people work inside of discussion 1. It's helpful. It's you'll get a message. It's going to be, I think, helpful because this way you don't have to constantly babysit things. I love to create the course cafes or the course help pages that are the course help forums. If they have questions, they can ask. The problem is sometimes I might go a few days between checking them, which is painful because then you have a student that obviously they didn't get their question answered in 48 hours. They may just email you, or they might, they may be like, oh, this professor has left me or alone. I don't know what to do. What you can do is obviously you can subscribe to it, and anytime somebody asks you a question or they put something up in here, you'll get some sort of notification. Likewise, if they're just participating and you're starting to see everybody is coming along, you'll get notifications. And you can also just hit subscribe once it's done, so this way you don't get stuff late. So subscribe is helpful if you want to get like little notifications that somebody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. Trying to see if there's any other. There's a lot in here to be able to customize. I'm not going to go through the weeds right now. Trying to remember how. Edit forum, hide forum, view forum statistics. I can't remember just off the top of my head how to force it to how to be a part of your grade. I think you'd actually have to go in assignment and connect this to the grade, if I'm not mistaken. That's something I'm going to have to figure out on my own, and I'll report back in a different section. So I have about 1:43. I'm going to go ahead and just stop sharing my screen and answer any questions that you have when it comes to Brightspace. I'll try my best to answer. If not, I'll obviously answer in a different way. We'll get you out the proper information. So feel free to unmute if you have a question. I am happy to try my best to help.
Hi, Ryan. Do you have an example of a grading scheme that's already set up that we can see what it looks like? I know it could be really big spreadsheet. Does that look similarly in the in Brightspace as well?
It's from the ones I've seen. So let me answer a little shortly, but I do have to kind of put a caveat here. I did have a course audit of one of my courses that came over. I haven't had time to actually read this just happened on Friday. I haven't had a chance to look at the report. Now, I did have a course come over, but it's in no way, shape, or form ready to be like in production phase. It's not like something that's ready to go for student-wise. I can show you what that looks like, but again, I haven't even looked at it yet. But let me see. I'm going to go back to my home, which is going to get me back to the main page. And I'm going to go into the EDU 556. And I will go to, let's see, course tools. I'll go to grades. There's probably not going to be anything in here because it's grades, because I don't have, okay, so there's this. So it has all of my assignments in here, but when it comes to because you want to know if there's like a spreadsheet to where I can enter stuff, and there is. However, since this is populated by people, it's hard to emulate, I think, the view in which you want to see right now. Let's see, reorder, view event log, make visible to users, hide from users. Yeah, I don't think there's a way that I can emulate or a way that I can fake to where you see what you want to see from this. I think you're just going to basically see all a list of my assignments and nothing else because I have no students. So yeah, sorry I can't show you that, but
no, that's okay. Yeah, I just wanted to see if you had any magic, because I also experienced the same thing of my pseudo class. It just lists of all of one of the courses that moved into this Brightspace, and I'm only seeing the list of assignments, and I could go into that individual assignment, but not the spreadsheet that we're used to seeing. I guess that's, yeah, but that's okay. Time will come when we can.
I think it's
You
because
know?
I'm in a place
No
with, I'm in a
rush.
master, so I'm in a place with nobody in it except for me. So
Mhm.
there's no, again, there's no way to actually be able to see that because there's nothing populating in there. There's no students. I'll see if I can find something with some user data in it. I will say this is if you want to see some, what it truly should look like is take a look at the getting started as an instructor resource I have on that webpage. It'll give you nice screenshots of actual grade books that are actually populated with stuff, with
Mm.
data, unlike mine, which is right now, it's just an empty canvas ready to start to work.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No problem. Let's see. Okay, I'll go back to my questions. Let's see. Will my fall 2020 course be ported over as well? Let's see. Will be converted into Brightspace, but not everything is clean copied. Yeah. What Susan's saying is everything's, you know, we're importing stuff in, but it's not like a perfect clean copy. It means that, let me give you a simple example, is that I used to put a lot of headers up inside of Joule to where it would really separate each module. So module 1 might have a header that said, you know, I used to make like little graphic like borders. And what it would do is it would say, okay, module 1, digital age learning. I also used to put titles that would say, for instance, reading resources, assignments, discussions. When I imported all that in, all you see are pictures and you see a title that's just very random. It's like, oh, I just want to delete that now. So it wasn't, when it was imported, it brought it over as like a file. It brought it over as a text file, but it didn't make it look like part of a nice module. That's just unfortunately what happens when you take data from one system to another. It doesn't mean I'm going to be out like destroying my course and it's ruined. It's just me having to delete that and fix something. Like I'm still not at that point to where I even understand what to fix yet. That's coming up in the next couple weeks, and we'll have professional development based on it. So, let me see. I'm trying to find others. Yeah, Susan mentioned that Charlie had his RIS 501 audited, and there's examples of how I might be able just to go, since I'm kind of presenting right now, and to show you how it doesn't look right. So let me go to content. I'm gonna have to hit share again. Let me share my screen. Okay. So I'm gonna go into here. See, that worked out fairly nice. But this was actually a main page. This was actually inside the system, there's even something I can come in here and put a nice page up to give directions for the entire module. This was something that actually kind of did work out okay. Try to find something that doesn't work out nicely. Learning research, here it is. That's all it copied over. It's just a title. So I have to delete that because that's just, it's nothing. It's just something that used to be a title in there. So I have Unit 2 plan, which is kind of like, it's probably very, very similar to what was here. If you go to YouTube, and these are just web pages. You can build web pages and build content in here. So these are just pages that have been built. So if you go to coursework and you go to content, you can start to build. I have to be careful because this is my upload, create. You want to create a file. I'm trying to make sure it's correct. But the nice thing is too is that not only do you upload files, but you can create a file. You can create something in there from scratch. So if you want to give directions to whatever they're doing in an assignment, you can. If you just want to add, a link to something, you can. If you want to add checklists, that is, okay, inside a module, whatever this module 2, you have to watch the presentation, you have to read this passage, you have to do this discussion, you have to do this assignment. They can go through and do a checklist. And obviously you can also develop a new discussion, a quiz. There's even a survey tool in here too. Let me see, I'm trying to show something else that might look. Here's how an assignment that I wrote out in Joule, this is how it kind of turned out inside of Brightspace, how it got imported in. Submit the proposal to the instructor for review. Let me see if does it have a. It actually, I don't think it actually had the. May not have the attached file that came into it. So there's a lot of things I just have to look through and make sure that functionality purposes it works.
Okay.
Sharon mentioned Panopto and other LMSs. Sharon, you're going to actually, and it's Aka, we do have a video tool that's coming out that's going to be in another session called, I keep on wanting to call it Bongo. It's Bago, I believe. That has a lot of resources. It's very similar to Zoom, but it also allows you to have video assignments to where if you give let's say you put up a 15-minute video, you can ask questions. Yeah, it's Bongo. Yep, yep. So it's called Bongo. Yep. I keep wanting to call it all sorts of other names. It just sounds funny. But you can link this inside of your grade book. You can watch the video. You could do multiple choice. You could do something participatory to where it's not just passive viewing of video. We're going to probably have a lot more professional development a little bit later on. I've only gotten to see a little bit of PD on it so far. So let me go ahead and I think I ended share screen. Let's see. I'm trying to look for any other questions before we kind of adjourn. Any other questions? Well, I'm just going to make that announcement.
Do you know if we can actually use the attendance capability through Brightspace, or is just a fancy thing that it's kind of sitting there?
No, you can. Just
okay.
Right now, it's kind of useless for me to show because there's nobody in there.
Right.
But yeah, you should be able to use it and set it up to however you want. It should be able to work fairly seamlessly. I've watched a little bit of video about it. And again, for what I can't answer 100% clearly, succinctly, is because I've only had a sandbox without, again, being populated.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You can always go and just quickly take a look and see how it looks in real time with the video and the other resources that are up on the site. I'll make sure to, when Susan shares this video, that she also includes the link to the site I started to develop. I'll make sure that that goes around too.
Okay. So anything that we see on Brightspace, we can assume that we can actually use them. It's be able to.
Yeah. Are you talking about like features that are turned off because we don't pay for them or something? Or?
Yeah, yes, exactly.
I believe, yeah, there shouldn't be anything we don't have access to. There's like third-party like tools and resources, but those are very specific, like publishers and stuff and develop that stuff that you don't even have to worry about. So if you have a book through Pearson or something like that, the system will be able to talk to it. I don't know about access. I don't know about how much you pay for it, but Brightspace, one of the big reasons why the committee went with Brightspace is because how open it was to other tools. It's very tool friendly. Okay, well,
and one last question. I'm so sorry. I'm asking too many questions.
Ahead. I'm listening.
Would faculty be able to see the view that students are able to view?
Darn it. Yes, that was like number 2 on my list. Yes. So so I'll hit share screen real quick. So if you ever want to see what the student's view is, like, I can't remember if I made that visible or not, just go right to your name. And right here where it says view as TA, there should be a view button right here that says view as a student. Maybe it's not there because, here, let me go to course home and see if I can do it. It says view as TA. Here it is. So if you go to where it says view as, you can change to, this is a teaching assistant, a tutor, a learner. If you click on this, it's going to look exactly as the learner is allowed to see it.
I was there exactly where you were and wondering how I was able to get there, but you've solved it.
Yep.
So I didn't go down to that one level below.
Yeah, that was number like 2 or 3 on my list of things to go over, and I didn't. And then obviously you can just click the icon again and just switch over to, just hit the X and it should really default you right back to your original view. So see, I'm back to, there we go. I'm back to being the teacher.
Wonderful. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, well, I'll be able to give everybody back 3 minutes of their time. So please be on the lookout. Susan will send around the resources shortly. I'll try and get the YouTube video processed today. This way it'll be a resource. Thank you very much for your time. And again, if I went too slowly or too fast, you're always welcome to go to the resource I linked up above to go and visit. You know, maybe if you could bookmark it, it'd be helpful to go to. So this way it's just that just-in-time learning will help you. All right. Thank you very much. Everybody have a good, safe day and take care. Hope to see you back in the future.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. Bye now.